made a video about feeling very lonely but not being alone, but still in some sense, there's the deeper level that I didn't really explain, and it's isolation. It's not just, I explained isolation a bit, but I didn't explain my experience specifically. And I guess it starts with one of the most overt forms of isolation that I faced was in COVID. I guess that's when I started to feel like a recluse, and I was shut off from the world with people just panicking and everything. It's not a panic thing as well, but I was more tied to just being online in my computer, and that was the first time I felt so much repetition with just being on my computer and logging on online, because when it comes to virtual classes, I notice a pattern with Zoom meetings and Google Meets. No one really honestly chats unless they need to. Man, I remember those days where people would say, oh, my camera, my mic wasn't working, so they would or the audio in the meet wasn't working, so they acted like, oh, they weren't there, so they can just leave the class. But those were the days. But fast forward, I think when we got back to school, I was a little bit more of a recluse still. I was out of it. I wasn't really, when you're in a comfort zone for so long, you're numb to it, right? And sure, I was kind of numb, but it wasn't in the way I do feel it now, because when you're graduating school, it's going to be different. And if you work a job, especially, some jobs, they just don't have you socialize in the way in high school lets you. As much as I didn't really like to be in high school for much longer, I did realize the benefit that I had with having more access to people and having more true connections, because it was more in the long term and you had to stay there, and there's more people who were relatable in my school, and some rare gems that I never got the contact. I never even asked for their contacts or anything, so I didn't really have the ability to get back at reaching them. I lost touch. So when you're with coworkers now, there's more of a greedy side to it. There's more corruption, and there's more people who are just, mid. If not mid, they're actual jerks. Or, some people, yeah, they will interact with you, but if you have a time, and if your job is just requiring you to work more compared to socialize, then it's really hard to focus on two things at once. But you get the idea, right? Isolation nowadays for me, ever since I graduated high school, and it was even before that, I was still in my high school year. My senior year wasn't really the best, I will say, because I lost a few people. It was also mid, I had to deal with some fake people, and I didn't really like the fake connections that I had with, no, I had close friends, but the mutual, I knew a lot of people, but it just felt like, I don't know what it was. They don't truly know who I am. So yeah, it was more compared to my early years of high school, there was less people that would hang around me, but more people who, there was a select few, right, that favored me and my presence, and we had more meaningful connections. Now I knew a lot more people, and I was able to develop the skill of socializing and masking myself a bit more. That's the thing that I mastered. But the issue with that is that I just didn't truly get to be the true person around some of the people, especially in my sports teams. In soccer, I just felt some of my teammates were just, they didn't really include me. Some did. I will mention that. I don't want to call out anybody, but that's just how it felt. And eventually too, I was really much in bad health, a bad mental state, so I just couldn't deal with it, and I felt very disconnected from everyone. I mean, they didn't know what I was going through, but still. I think all the trauma, it leaked into my present stage after high school. I just didn't want to have long-term connections. If you know how in work, you have respect, mutual respect for the most part. Or in school, if you're partnered up with someone in a lab, you're required to just at least have the bare minimum to interact with them and get along so that you can get the job done. But that's pretty much all the social interaction I had at college as well. I only had a few in-person classes, and everyone, in my class, it didn't really feel connecting. everyone was just there to get their material work, and I didn't have anyone that I particularly knew. I mean, I had a few people, but they didn't just have any time to interact, and I didn't have any true connections made or any new friends so far in college. And I'm willing to make that change because I have a comms class coming up in fall, and I know it's a comms class and the communication is required, but I hope I meet someone who, where even if that's required, that I can actually make a friend with. But aside from that, as of now, the day's just been feeling repetitive, and I didn't have any chance to, I did have a chance to hang out with people, but now that things are getting repetitive, it feels numb. An example from my favorite game, No, I'm Not Human, it's very good at depicting isolation through a dystopian setting. So the main character, he doesn't have a particular name, but he's tasked with trying to let people into his house because the whole world is about to burn up from the sun. And then they have these things called visitors. They come from the underground of the world. And eventually, because of this, to avoid dying or something alone, he needs to let people inside of his house. And he does this, first of all, to confirm if they're visitors or humans. So by doing this, he allows himself not to die, right? And this is a whole message because in the game you would die. There's an ending if you don't let in people into your house and you end up alone, and there's this one visitor that comes after him. But there's that message, dying alone, loneliness can kill you, and everything just starts to eat up at you because you're in this numbing path. That's what the visitor at the door, his name is just the pale visitor or something, and he keeps asking if he's alone. And there's that message, are we alone too? The players who possibly might feel like they're isolated from the whole entire world. It's like a reality check that the pale visitor is getting in, rather than just being an overt threat to the main character. And it's also the idea that he has to get over, he doesn't really like the guy in the main character of the game. He's very introverted. He doesn't like talking to people, and he's very traumatized by his past if you interact with the game and you notice that. But it's a matter of getting out of his comfort zone and letting people into his house. And I know with myself, the root of the problem is that you need to get out of your comfort zone, and I noticed that. But sometimes, even if you're the type of person to get out of your comfort zone, I don't have too much access to places where there's a long-term connection and you don't see too many people. So I need to take advantage that even if I see someone short-term, I need to make some connection right then and there. So maybe I can have a path to connect, some sort of contact to reach them back at, right? So I really hope if I meet someone in college or even in just a class, I need to find someone who I can talk to in a deep way. There's many forms of friendship. There's a different level rather than just mutual respect, mutual coworkers and everything. And a lot of people know you can have fun with people, but then they don't know you deep down and you don't have those moments. So I want to make a connection that's long term, but I don't know how or where to start if I don't have too many resources to act upon. And I think it's just that I need to make the most out of whatever social environment that I'm getting. I don't believe that I'm the type of person who will be lonely forever. It's just that people in the world, on a statistic basis, I see so many people on YouTube, I mentioned this in one video, that explain the same things that I'm saying. There's similar YouTubers like me, the self-journaling topic that we're all talking about, and it's just mind-boggling. There's so many people in the world you haven't met, and so many people who are similar to you, so they're just spread out in different areas, and I just gotta find the right area to find the right person. That's just what I'm thinking it is. I'm not trying to believe I'm destined to be alone, and whether I do, there's so many moments where I can recall I just didn't have the best school years, or I've lost so many people. I don't want to make that same mistake again. I just want to start over. There's always a fresh start that I can make, and I'm really hoping that I can enter that phase again. So I'm really hoping you guys also take that lesson too. For you guys who are shy, I really wish the best of luck for you guys to find someone out there, okay? But that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching.